Hello! Welcome! It's been a while. Unless you've been watching my streams, in which case it has not been that long. And if you watched me say this specifically during the few hours where I tried to post the first version of this video on Sunday, it's been very not long at all. I tried to make a video like this Sunday, and I botched it in multiple ways. Much worse than I've ever botched a video before. So I'm back. I'm trying to do the same thing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Life is very fleeting, but you know, it'll be even better this time. I took out a few things, added a few things, some thoughts changed. I think it's going to be good. So hello, it's been a while since I have made like a state of the channel, you know. Luckily things are pretty chill around here. I have pretty much the same 5 or so friends who watch all my things no matter what I do, and I love you all. I won't do name call outs because then I'd feel really bad if I forgot somebody. And that would be really unfortunate. But thank you all for watching my videos. I've been looking back on 2020 and how it was a really fun year full of Let's Plays. I made a lot of Let's Plays. It was really good then. But I'm pivoting really hard now that I've tried things. You may have heard me say as early as August when I was recording Hollow Knight, kind of this thought of like, oh, I don't want to mass produce Let's Plays. People don't watch them very much. They're a huge amount of effort. And there's only so many games that I really want to do it for. And putting that aside, I love them. They tell really cool stories. And they're just a huge volume of content that you can just really enjoy, and seeing some of my specific friends go back and watch them after they aired was so much fun. So I've kind of realized I'm very satisfied with the amount of Let's Plays I've done. Recording for Kirby has been harder to organize than I expected, even though we all live together and we're quarantining together. So we're going to actually spread that out throughout the spring, and then probably into the summer if we have to. So it's going to come bit by bit, but if you haven't watched that, I really recommend it because I really like what we did. We are going to have 3 controllers next time, and we will change a few things with the audio for recording, but it was really fun anyhow. It was really good, and that game was very good, and our banter was very good. It was really fun. Yeah, so lately I've been a lot more spontaneous with things. I haven't been wanting to lock myself into a Let's Plays schedule again. You know, I did it. I did it, and I realized that I only want to do Let's Plays when they specifically strike me. So they're going to be just kind of one sort of project that I do. So that you might be wondering, you might not be wondering. There's not much public eye on what I do here. If you are wondering what I am going to do, I've been sitting on it for months, and I've become a little bit more certain. And it's still a little bit tricky to articulate, but I have been wanting to make a little video because the winter is ending. Finally, it's a whole COVID winter. I got these roots. My hair is so funny. I haven't gotten one COVID haircut, so you can see how tired I am and how tired I look. It's been really wacky, but it's also been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of time for introspection, and now that the spring is coming a little bit, I'm starting to get energy, and new things are really starting to make me passionate, and I know that I want to do things with them. So you may have been seeing I've been doing some spontaneous streams. It's just been very fun with my roommates. Hazel's been really good at setting stuff up, so you can see a Splatoon stream, New Year's Splatoon and Mario Kart stream, and us reacting to the Nintendo Direct on her channel, but I've collected all those under streams, or I might move them to a folder called Hangouts. You can see them on my channel. I love them. I like to rewatch those. It's so much content for so little effort. It's been really fun to do. That said, I still don't want to like pivot into streaming or routinely or anything. It's a lot of time. That kind of routine kind of bogs me down. So things are getting much more spontaneous, but if you want some sort of framework for what I want to do, I'll tell you. As you may have noticed, and I've said a few times, while I was doing stuff to organize my 20 games of 2020, I started using stars that specified like ways that I engaged with the different games and things that I enjoyed them for. And that was literally just so I could rank these games. But doing it made me realize that that was a really good way to start to judge my own tastes, because I've developed a really big interest in subjective tastes and personal tastes. I think that I have been getting really tired of discussion that surrounds like objective goodness, or even blurring the lines between objective and subjective goodness, where people will be like, oh, I subjectively love Ace Attorney, so Danganronpa is objectively bad. Not to shade any kind of person, but that is one example of specifically specifically what I've been thinking of, just sort of not driving with me. I think I am not interested in saying whether or not things are objectively good or bad. Not very interested. I am far more interested in subjectivity and knowing your own taste. I think it is so much more interesting to watch a Nintendo Direct and be like, man, I love, in my case, very boring Nintendo games or very normal Nintendo games like Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Animal Crossing, Splatoon. All these things have made me really passionate lately. So knowing that, I was totally, I wasn't surprised when I was let down if, a trailer was for a gritty third-party game. I'm not very interested in developers besides Nintendo most of the time, and I'm not very interested in grit, and I'm not very interested in, I know my taste, and that's made it a lot easier to stem negativity and hard reaction and stuff like that. I don't walk into a place and demand something as if, everyone is just going to put all their effort into catering to my subjective taste. So, as you can tell, I really enjoy talking about this subject, and the stars have been a really good way of understanding, specifically with games, but extending to other things, what I like, and using that to judge what I might also like. And it's also become fun starting to look at my friends and trying to judge, oh, you seem to really like this. You seem to really care about stories. That's interesting. Learning from that and even, maybe giving recommendations. I played something that had a really good story, and that's become interesting for me, and I think that pivots well into content. So, drum roll. I think what I would say, the change that I want to make with how I use YouTube is twofold, I guess. I want to sort of devote myself to a hobby level study of fun. A research of fun and enjoyment, specifically subjective enjoyment. I've been really having fun with stuff like the Star Talks video that I did for Metroid and Pokemon Mystery Dungeon back at the start of the year. That really nailed what I want to do. I think that the second part of this is I think the audio format is really fun for me. Video is good, but as you can see, I got a new webcam. I actually totally lost the video last time, so I really hope it works. Is it working? Yeah, it is. I think it is. Now that I have this webcam, I don't have to use my Animal Crossing villager, and also you get to see me. So I've been thinking about this sort of, instead of always making stuff that requires a capture card or video game related stuff, it's fun kind of making a vlog type thing. Or actually, I've been listening to a lot of Seiyu radio shows for the last 24 hours, where somebody will just sort of talk about what they're promoting, I love Live Seiyu, for example, just talking about what they're promoting, where the visual is honestly secondary to just the talking element. So, I've talked in the past about podcasts and stuff, which still don't exactly appeal to me, but now I'm starting to realize, I want to talk about things on the internet. It takes a lot of effort to do video editing, and I do also want to make more edited videos that look good. It was pretty fulfilling. It's just not something I want to do as much. The point of all this is I'm enjoying talking about things, and I'm really enjoying talking about subjective enjoyment, my star system, and my study, my research into enjoying things. This has been really fun. It's been really fun sharing it with people and talking about it. So I think I'm broadening what I want to do again, which isn't probably surprising, but I really narrowed it in 2020. And then I realized that, it's really fun covering games that I like, but that's not all that I want to do anymore. I think stuff like the Star Talks, where I talk about what I've been playing, might become more of a thing, where I do a weekly journal sort of check-in. I've been thinking about that format. I've just been thinking it'd be really fun to do a talking format thing where I kind of just chart what I've been enjoying, and if you like listening to my voice, you can listen to it, and you can just do that. People like listening to my voice. I'm slowly coming around to enjoying recording my voice. It's easier than recording games a little bit. So there's that for sure. And then I've been also thinking about making more specific edited videos, like the star lores, star lores of the stars. I've been thinking a lot about specifically the music star, the sound star has been essential for all my 2021 games, which is really new. So I've been thinking about talking about Mario Galaxy. I haven't talked about that much at all. That's a whole game that I played. And numerous games that have really been enjoyable for me because of the sound design. I've been learning that I value sound design. So that's one example of something that I want to make soon, where I'm just going to really get in depth and talk about my experience playing games with this, and maybe you'll learn something about what you enjoy in games, or maybe you'll start to appreciate that too, or I don't know. That's just sort of what I've been thinking. But that is, yeah. So, you know, things like that. I've been wanting to do, we might do something for Pokemon Day. If you stick with me to the end, I have a small feature I'm going to do for Pokemon Day. You know, just talking about whatever is making me passionate in the moment. Splatoon has become one of my favorite things since I stopped, or since the last time I made a video about stuff. I love Splatoon. It's been fun to stream it on and off. You know, I wouldn't want to commit myself to the Splatoon grind. Every Friday, come check in. I'm gonna get to S tier. That's just not really where I am. But it's really fun using it as like a casual hangout thing. Also integrated with my Twitter. I think everybody who watches this follows my Twitter. Dropping like a little announcement, like I'm gonna stream in a bit, and then having people go over there. That's really fun for me. So I'm starting to find my footing, and I think it requires doing a whole bunch of different things. I was so hesitant. I was like, I don't want to do a whole bunch of different things. Now I'm getting myself down where it's like I'll do like a radio, like journal segment as like my core, and then a whole bunch of different things. As they come to me. And that is pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for listening. I'm very tired, a little out of the practice of making videos. I've just been really working a lot, really working on stuff for school and work and stuff, so that's fun. Also, it's exhausting to exist in February 2021, isn't it? It's very exhausting. It's been exhausting to exist for many months. It's history, baby. So yeah, I'm not focusing on just video games, even though they are a huge brunt of my interest. I've also been able to enjoy a lot of anime again, thanks to my dear roommates. I spend a lot of time watching anime again, and that's been excellent. Love Live's been getting interesting again. I've been watching Soul Eater. That's been really interesting for very specific reasons. So I've got a bunch to say about that too, but yeah, we'll see. Music? Probably not. We'll see. But yeah, now I think if you stuck around long enough, you can leave. If you just want to hear about my future, but if you want to hear about more things, I can tell you about my secret project. I've been trying to predict the new mythical Pokemon. In trying to predict this, I realized that I really like mythical Pokemon. I used to believe that they were kind of obnoxious because I liked regional trios so much. I grew up with Sinnoh being a new thing, so I was super into all of the regional legendaries in the main game, and it was super disappointing when they stopped having those in X and Y. They definitely have a little... They're definitely getting back on the track of making legendaries that are not mythical, but I thought they were like a whole corporate cop-out thing. I don't think that anymore. There's just... I used to think there were way too many of them, but that's not that. It's because they come out every year. They're yearly. They're numerous because they're yearly. So Zarude, you know, isn't my favorite Pokemon, but it was really fun having 2020 Zarude stuff. I got a bunch of Vivid Voltage. That's been a set that I adopted from TCG. It's Zarude themed, and I was like, hey, you were the 2020 guy, so I've adopted mythical Pokemon as a kind of yearly tradition thing. So in going through that, I have become very passionate about mythical Pokemon typings, and I'm going to give you a Professor Layla report on those. So here we go. I have been trying to predict the typing for the next mythical Pokemon because there are some very interesting trends in the mythical Pokemon typing production. The basic things are, you know, you don't really see a lot of clumping except for the two exceptions. The two exception, or I guess the three exception types are Psychic, Fairy, Steel. They're at least the most prominent, and if anything's going to break any sort of rule, it's probably them. Of course, this is Pokemon, and like Smash, it's easy to sort of pretend that you see a rule, but it's not really there. There's a lot of jumping around and stuff they can do, but regardless, you can say they try not to clumper. You won't often find a generation that has a bunch of Pokemon of the same type. You'll find many generation where all the mythical Pokemon are different types, but there's a fairy type every generation, or there's been a psychic type every generation many times. And the only time when a mythical Pokemon had the same type as another mythical Pokemon in same generation was Generation 3 with Jirachi and Deoxys, but that's because every mythical Pokemon had been psychic type until Deoxys. It wasn't until Sinnoh where we got a diversity, and those were some of the first, most interesting Pokemon for me. So, you know, I have been trying to think, because Zarude was actually a little bit predictable, has been my thought. Not completely predictable, and in fact I won't really get into more Zarudes because they are a bit too numerous. What makes Zarude interesting is before Zarude, Grass Dark was an exclusive typing to C-Dot's line. Nothing else had it. It was just sitting there. unused, and then they used it. And there had been a dark type not that long ago in Gen 6 because of Hoopa's Unbound form. So dark wasn't exactly needing it. Were it not for Hoopa, again, that is a side form, so it actually hadn't been since Darkrai, I don't believe, that we had a dark type. But Grass we hadn't seen since Shaman. So both these types hadn't really been around since Gen 4. So if you look at that, it's like, this year I wouldn't predict that, you know? It's not exactly dying because there are so many types that haven't been put into the mythical rotisserie rotation. And I'm going to get into that a whole bunch more. But it is still interesting. Zarude took a type that was previously completely unique to one line, and became a mythical for it. So it wasn't a new fresh type entirely, but it was a very unique type. And before that we had Meltan, who's a little bit funky because they just kind of, this has been a lot of steel types lately, steel's a bit common now. Fairy also every generation, well, I guess two generations in a row you had Fairy because it debuted in Gen 6 and you had another one in Gen 7. The point of all this is, Gen 6 you had Volcanion debuting the first ever fire water type. Gen 7 you had Marshadow debuting the first ever ghost fighting type, and that would have been, no, not the first of either type. Okay, not the first of either type in the mythical rotation, but a unique type, which is very cool. And then Zeraora introduced electric, which we hadn't had an electric type mythical before. I'm completely excluding Arceus because it would be a complete anomaly if you did that. Also, I'm excluding Melmetal and Fion because, again, if you added those, it would just ruin all the other themes. And obviously, there were two water types in Gen 4 because Manaphy and Fion are related. It's the same thing for Melmetal, and, you know, it's basically one installment of type. If you look at things, it's balanced that way. They waited again until Gen 6 to do Volcanion for another water type. The point of all this is, there are some really, really easy to predict things that could happen this year because there are 4 types that have never been their own mythical Pokemon. Ice, Poison, Dragon, Ground. Those actually have never been represented, those 4 specifically. Flying has never been its own thing. It's only snuck in via Shaman Sky form, which is a secondary form. So flying is kind of an honorary 5th. But there has never been a mythical Ice-type Pokemon. There's never been a mythical Dragon-type Pokemon, or Ground-type Pokemon, or Poison-type Pokemon. And what gets even more interesting is that there are unique Pokemon type combinations. I've got them all right here. Numerous of which use multiple, or at least one, of those never-before-seen types. So we haven't had a new unique typing in Gen 8 yet, and there are numerous new unique typings that would introduce a type that has never been a mythical Pokemon before. So I will run down for you my ideas of types that are super, super just like, why not do that? We haven't had it yet. That totally could happen and would be interesting both for mythical Pokemon and Pokemon in general. I think the thing is, you know, these are maybe the most interesting. The reality is it's going to fall somewhere around it. So I'll tell you about, I think, my favorite prediction, and then everything around it, like the slightly less likely, because that's where Zarude would have been, you know. I've got unique types and also new Zarude pluses, where it takes a previously unique type and adds it to the mythical rotation. Previously unique where only one Pokemon or one line had it, and then add it to the mythical rotation. But Zarude didn't introduce a new type to the rotation. If you had a Zarude, which takes a previously unique typing and makes it mythical, and introduces a new typing to the mythical rotation, I think that's new Zarude plus, if you understand. So, my first prediction is Ice Poison. I think it's my favorite one. I really have been missing Galarian Dustox. Claire's little band looks like it could have been a cool Frostmoth, like Ice Poison, Galarian Dustox. Ice and Poison's never been done. There's never been Ice or Poison as a mythical Pokemon besides Arceus. And I think that the possibilities are really cool. I do think of some kind of bug, or you can think about some kind of little elemental. I don't know, like Ice and Poison, they don't really go together. Nobody's done that yet, so I think it'll be very crazy. There's a lot of really wacky things that could come out of Ice and Poison that I think it'd be cool if they started with a mythical Pokemon. I don't know what it would be, but that is the one. That is the like big like red herring sort of, maybe not red herring. It's the one that's standing out to me, just because it's a cool and unique typing. Next would be Bug Dragon, because there's never been a Bug Dragon. There's never been a Dragon type mythical. Why not debut Bug Dragon with the mythical? Bug Dragon is something that's really cool because I think Yanmega could have been Bug Dragon, but it wasn't. So it's like, if it's not going to be a Dragonfly, what's it going to be? Also, it could be a Dragonfly. That'd be really neat. My Pocket Desire is that we get a nice little cute sprite Pokemon, because we didn't really get that with Melmetal at the start, Melmetal at the start of the generation. Usually the first mythical of every generation is really cute, so I hope this one's cute. Meltan is a little bit cute, but I want like a very cute sprite little guy, so Bug Dragon's a bit unlikely for that. Most of these are kind of unlikely for that, but it could happen. Again, this is not a Nuzurud Plus, these are unique typings. I think the new unique typing is the most likely. Continuing in that, ground fighting hasn't been done. Ground would be new for mythical. What's your favorite ground fighting? I don't know. Normal poison, normal ice are boring, but very likely. Just about as good as poison or ice in my mind. Sorry, normal types. Ground fairy is possible, and that could be cute. Ground fairy is a fine little possibility. And then fighting and fairy might be my favorite not ice poison thing. That's never been done. We haven't had a fairy type since Magirna. And we haven't had a fighting type since Marshadow, so it's not the most exciting typing, but it is unique, and a fighting fairy would be cute. I think it's just hard to make a fighting fairy that's not Marshadow. The next tier of unused types aren't that interesting to me, and I'm just going to tack on Fire Fairy, because Fire got the Volcanion, Fairy to go to last generation. It's not impossible. I think I rolled it out too hard. I think it should be with one of the more possible previously undone typings, and Fire Fairy could be super cute. So I think Fire Fairy is another one of my favorites. I'll say Ice Poison, Fight Fairy, Fire Fairy. Those are what I want most. Even though Fairies had a great run, there just hasn't been a Fairy in Gen 8, and if you're going to make a queue, we could have another Fairy. It'd just be cool. It'd just be cool. And these are all unique typings. So outside of that, I really had to do my homework for the Nuzurud Pluses. These are Pokemon types that have only happened once, and would be the only second time ever we had these types. But they also are introducing types we've never had in Mythicals. Sometimes two of them. So my two best ones are Poison Flying and Poison Ground. Poison Flying, only Crobat is Poison Flying. So likewise, only Nidoking and Nidoqueen are Poison Ground, which I'll call unique. It's kind of not unique, but it's pretty much unique. We haven't used Poison Ground or Poison Flying since Gen 1 and 2. Keep an eye on that. If they're keeping up this trend of using, this trend that Surge started, of using previously unique typings and giving them a little bit more focus with a mythical, those are two of the best ones. They haven't been done since Gen 1 and 2, and neither Poison, Flying, or Ground have ever been mythical, except for Shaman's kind of an apostrophe. So I think those are great to keep your eye on. Not my biggest interest. Outside of that, and I'm going to kick myself, I think I forgot one of them. The other good one is, and you can use an algorithm to get to this point, Ice Dragon. Two things that haven't been mythicals, but the issue is, and this is a weird little rule I found, Kyurem is Ice Dragon. One of the Kyurems, or like the main Kyurem is Ice Dragon. We have never had a mythical adopt a type that was previously new on a legendary Pokemon. I don't think there's a reason for that rule, but it has never been broken. So I think Ice Dragon's a great prediction when you look at Ice, Poison, Dragon, Ground, Flying. Ice Dragon's one of the coolest predictions, but it would technically break the stupid little rule. Nobody's done that before. I believe both Solgaleo and Lunala have types that were debuted by a mythical, with Ghost Psychic Hoopa and Steel Psychic Jirachi. So that's, the opposite is possible, but it's never happened this way. I think it would be a cool type. I'm not a big dragon person, I'm not a big poison person. In fact, they've previously both been one of my least favorite types, but I think that these are all really fun types, and I think if you're going to go from a type analysis standpoint, pay attention to them, because of course they could just be like, here's our new mythical Pokemon, it's a water type. But if you're gonna predict based on types, there's some really interesting stuff. So there's your free bit. There's your free little segment. I gave that. It's free. So have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this. See you soon.